Who cares about a countdown? Let's get this shit started because I'm late already. Hey! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show on this Friday. Who's ready for the weekend? I know I am. Although my weekends and my weekdays get kind of melded together, so I don't know if they're that different, but it's Funky Friday on the Morning Night Live. So you get some grooving, moving, some 70 porn music, or just some. This is kind of has an 80s vibe to it, though. I kind of like it. Anyway, one of the big trending things on Twitter today is the word unconstitutional, and so that's why I brought it up as my title, even though there's all kinds of crazy nonsense going on, I gotta tell you. But that's what we do here. We just kind of see what's happening in the world. We talk about things before everybody else talks about it for the most part. I kind of noticed that when I look at my aggregator, and all the stuff my aggregator has put out is stuff I already talked about. So I don't know what to do about that other than make sure that I stay ahead of the game. So, are you ready? Shall we? Let's shall. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dawg Knight.
Let's try that again. I don't even say it. I know. I already know. Damn it. I hit the wrong button. Let's try this again. Give me a second. Just a second. Just give me 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to begin. I decided to play this one more time and I hit the wrong button. But you know, that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P. Dawg Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the P. Dawg Knight Channel. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday morning. Hope this music level works, because I think I like it, and I might keep it today. Anyway, it's Friday, the 26th of August, 2022. If you live in Minnesota, that's known as the second day of the 2022 Minnesota State Fair. I'm telling you, I keep talking about it, but the Minnesota State Fair is a trip. I've never seen anything like it in any other state. Although I hear Texas is the only one in the United States that's bigger. But boy, oh boy, it's a great state fair. And we might actually, look, I think Lady Boomer's technically off her quarantine tomorrow. And I haven't been off mine since Tuesday. We might have to make an appearance at the Minnesota State Fair. I'll take video so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, you aren't going to believe it. Excuse me. Anyway, good morning to everybody. I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about some stuff that's unconstitutional, among other things. So anyway, let's mute, unmute. It is that. You're right. It's that simple. But I've got like 6 different clicks I have to do. I click the mute button because I don't like the echo that for whatever reason when I play my intro, there's an echo in the intro. So I mute it to click it, and then when I come back, I click a button again, but sometimes I click the wrong one. So the video capture device, I click that one instead of the line in device, which is the microphone. So it just is what it is. It happens. Let's say good morning, everybody. First in the chat today, earning the bell, is our friend Advocatus Diabli, who's always front and center. Nice to have you here, sir. Also, good morning to Aaron Meredith, Rotten Corpse, Jethro, Hetero. I said Advocatus Diabli. Manny from the House of Geeks. Good morning, Jay Pylon, Mike Savage, Blarg, Plague Dr. Zach, also known as Zach Osborne. Also, good morning, Man Squatch, Tyler F., D.I. Freighter Watcher, Simon Wolfwood. I see Maniac Man's in the house. Nice to have you back. Select a boy. Yeah, boy. Who else? We're going to start seeing. This is about the time we start seeing people who get the notification later than others. Somnambul Nation's here. Who else is here? Tyrannus Alexandrius Invectus Soul is in the house. Ty Alexander, what up? I said Rotten Corpse. I said Man Squatch. Maddie. Nana. Aaron Meredith's in the house. HP Lovecraft is in the house. Nice to see you. Also Chicago Mike. And is that it? And Old Grouchy Gamer making an appearance when you can, which is today. Aha. So, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we talked a little bit about President Spongebrain Shitpants making a pronouncement to the world that he's going to grant many of you who have the student monies borrowed from the government and shall be set free from paying back $10,000. Yes, he has forgiven you your great burden, or partially, sort of, and just put the burden on the rest of us. Yes, you certainly can have your money back, even though you didn't. Oh, by the way, I don't know if any of you are tax experts, but I gotta ask, if you're a tax expert, please make the comment in the comment section, because I've been saying this ever since this stupid student loan forgiveness buyback of votes for young people scheme that President Spongebrain Shitpants has come up with. Tax experts, answer me this. So if you're being forgiven $20,000 in student loans, okay, and you make $125,000 a year, but you're getting or somehow you got a Pell Grant, but you're making $125,000 a year, but you got a Pell Grant, so you can take $20,000 in 2022. Aren't you going to be liable for a pretty hefty tax bill for that $20,000? Because let's say you're in the 33% tax bracket. Doesn't that so-called forgiveness from the loan that you actually used to pay for your, pay for your new Xbox while you were at school and, some furniture, because, you know how student loans work. Your Cancun spring break you paid for with the American taxpayer dollars. Isn't that $20,000 debt now considered income? You're not paying it back. You used it. You got it. You just got 20 grand that got, So aren't you gonna have to come up with $6,600 come tax time? I'm just saying, I'm guaranteeing you, some of these people aren't going to be happy when come tax time. They'll be like, oh, I got 20. Yes, so the president saved my life. Then they're going to come around tax time and go, what? They're going to be sounding like, what's that? Little John. They're going to be sounding like Little John. What? 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 I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, good morning, Chauncey Stewart. I see you popped in here. Welcome. There's probably a couple people I missed too, but we'll get there. Anyway, let's start with this. We have a first sponsor today. Well, Ty Alexander, you know what? You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you for sponsoring the show. And since we already have the music going, I don't have to find something for Tyre. Here we go. Tyre Alexander says, dropping a small bullet in the tip jar, and I think he's trying to contribute to whatever he's talking about here. Very funny, Tyre. Tyre says, I'm sorry, I'm squinting because I'm old. He likes to point that out. For $2.23, you can help a boomer to use technology. Please help these poor boomers learn to use the volume button. In the arms of a boomer, we can help them all. You're very funny, Tyre, but I might have to kick you in the ball later on. Thank you, Tyre Alexander, for sponsoring the show. You know how much I love you, brother. All right, I think it's time to turn this music off for a moment, and let's get into the show. What do you say there, Gun Fox? By the way, good morning, Gun Fox. Marty, if you get anyone forgiveness, it counts as income. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to count. So all those people that are going to either get 10,000 or 20,000 or 3,000, however much they get, they got to pay taxes on that this year. You don't get to wait to pay taxes on it. I'm just saying. So anyway, good luck to you all. All right. So the word unconstitutional, I'm going to go right to it, even though there's all kinds of stuff going on. I got all kinds of tabs I could have opened, and I didn't. I looked at my aggregator. Holy shit. He's got so much stuff up here. But I was on Twitter, and of course, because I checked Twitter before I come on the show just to see if there's anything new and fresh that I need to talk about. And the word unconstitutional is trending, which kind of makes sense because, yesterday we were talking about that silly little this loan forgiveness that the president believes he has the ability to do based on an obscure 2003 law. I was thinking to myself, first of all, what's the emergency that he's basing this law on? Because apparently, I thought, the economy was so great that Joe Biden was saying how fantastic everything is. But wait a minute, you're saying that we have to do an emergency? There's an emergency still because of stupid 19? Well, wait a minute. Didn't you stop the payments for everybody during stupid 19? Like, I know that we haven't had to make any payments to my wife's student loan in almost 2 years now because they've put a moratorium on payments, and they've done it till December, right? So now, come December, then we go back to making the normal payment on our student loans. But what's the emergency now that you have to cancel $10,000 student loan debt? This is not a cancellation of student loan debt. This is a bribe. This is a bribe to young people. Come out and vote for Joe Biden's party, because you can't vote for Joe Biden right now because, first of all, you're probably not going to be able to vote for him in 2024 either, but that's a whole nother story. But what is this emergency? And second of all, is this just by decree the president of the United States can just, I forgive you your loans? And so that was the unconstitutional thing I was thinking about, because even the law itself, as written, seems like it would be unconstitutional, and just no one's ever challenged it before. So the problem is now you have to find someone to challenge it who has standing, which I'm not sure how that's going to go. Good morning, Renee Mayette, by the way. So I'm very I'm very confused. Anyway, real quick. Thank you, Maddie. How you doing, Maddie? And Maddie, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Maddie asked the question, since when did you have to pay back a Pell Grant? I didn't have to pay back when I went to college. Okay, that is a confusing part of the equation here that the president put together. It's not that you have to pay back a Pell Grant. The way he's setting this up is that people who, and thank you again for sponsoring the show, appreciate it. The way he set it up, okay, first he said that people, borrowers could, they would waive up to $10,000 of the student loans that they have outstanding, right? Then on top of that, he's saying, if you were eligible for a Pell Grant, okay, not if you, it's not the Pell Grant that these are forgiving, but if you also took out loans and you got a Pell Grant, okay, you can forgive up to an additional $10,000 on any loans you took out. So let's put it together in a simple pattern. Let's say you got student loans for $30,000 while you were in school. You owe $30,000 in federal student loan debt. Oh, by the way, you realize this only accounts for federal student loan debt, and that only changed like during the Obama administration. So if you have student loans you're still paying off from say 2002, like before Obama changed the student loan thing, you still have to pay those student loans. There's nothing that's being forgiven. But anyway, let me get back to this. Let's say you took out $30,000 in student loan debt and you got a Pell Grant for $10,000. Okay? Or no, yeah, you got a Pell Grant for $10,000. Because he's canceling $10,000 of your student loan debt of that $30,000, so that's $20,000. And because you also qualified for a Pell Grant, meaning you had some kind of a low income or special needs reason that you would get a Pell Grant, you can eliminate another $10,000 from your student loans. So now your student loans would be down to $10,000 versus $30,000. So you're not getting, he's not forgiving Pell Grant money. So hopefully that explains it. He made it sound like you had to pay back grants. No, you don't. Okay. Good morning. Why are you so angry too, by the way? Who says, lest we forget people who were impacted by Hurricane Katrina and other natural disasters, illegal migration, who FEMA passed out the Pell Grants. I don't know what that means. Maybe I read that wrong. So anyway, so the word unconstitutional is trending, and I'm the top. I'm listed on the top of that. Holy goodness. Mainly because so much people retweeted me. Okay, very good. I like that. Anyway, so let's just go down. I want to go down this list of unconstitutional, because student loans is not the only unconstitutional thing people are talking about. Is that retroactive? Retroactive how? No. In fact, there was someone who got into a little bit of a tiff with Elizabeth Warren at one of her events, and the guy went up and was kind of saying to her, look, I saved money, I did this and that, and I paid off student loans, blah blah blah, and didn't spend money and didn't buy extra shit and whatever. Can I get 10,000 of my student loans back? She's like, no. And almost kind of laughed in his face. It was weird. So anyway, let's get into this unconstitutional. We're going to just go through, a lot of people were talking about various unconstitutional things today, so we're just going to go down the Twitter trend list and see what's under here, because I'm curious of what things people think are unconstitutional, and maybe we even will do some polls in the chat. I haven't decided. We'll figure it out. I do have other things that I want to look at, especially the other big news yesterday, Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan. Also, Trump's affidavit, the affidavit for searching Mar-a-Lago. We'll talk about that. Almost a shocking opinion from the Washington Post. And also, Keffels. That Keffels Kiwi Farms thing. Keffels decided that this is kind of internet drama shit. But Keffels is taking shots at Mr. Medicare now, which that can never go well. So that's an interesting one. So anyway, let's go back. I want to go to this unconstitutional topic on Twitter right now because it's trending still. So let's go down. Now there's someone here says that said this showcases how the government. Oh, here we go. Unapologetic traditionalist says Republicans should be filing suit on the loan forgiveness executive order. It is illegal and unconstitutional, and everyone knows it. But Biden and the Democrats are daring the Republicans to sue since they think it will hurt Republicans. The Republicans will probably be cowards as usual. I would say that is probably spot on. That is probably spot on. Let's see. Unconstitutional. Have Dems ever cared about that? Obama started the blue wave of lawlessness. Here's Biden's 10-3. Okay, here's let's look at a couple different op-eds because I want to. The one that surprised me was this Washington Post one. Opinion. The Post. This is by the entire editorial board of the Washington Post. This one's wild. Biden's student loan announcement is a regressive, expensive mistake. Wait a minute. What? 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 Yeah. What? What? Yeah. I don't know why I'm on Little John kick this morning. I'm picturing. It's not even Little John that I'm channeling. It's more like I'm channeling. Oh shit! God, my brain is not working today. My brain's not working. I'm channeling Dave Chappelle doing Little John. Anyway, not $300 million. Well. Let's just read this. Let's just read this article. This is the Washington Post criticizing the president of the United States, a Democrat president for that matter. And it's not a single contributor. This is the Washington Post editorial board. I think the government should not back student loans. No, I think the government needs to get out of the student loan business altogether. I think you go back to private student loans. I think you make colleges more accountable for what they do. They need to rein in prices. The government student loans basically allowed colleges to spend whatever they want and charge whatever they want for tuition, which they've done. And the price of tuition, I think in the last 3 years, has gone up 1,000%. I mean, 10 times most other inflation. It's insanity. And anyway, here's this Washington Post editorial. Under progressive pressure to force grandiose policy changes, President Biden has generally embraced sensible reforms over flashy gimmicks. See, I mean, you can tell they're Biden sycophants. But his Wednesday student loan announcement did just the opposite. After weeks of anticipation, Mr. Biden announced he will extend the pause. I don't know why I said it like that. Extend the pause on student loan payments until the end of the year. He will also forgive up to $10,000 for those making less than $125,000 a year and up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients under that income threshold. Both measures are ill-conceived and misdirected. Wow. The Washington Post ain't going to be making any friends among the under the downtrodden classes today, the downtrodden college loan taker outers. The loan pause, which President Trump instituted in March 2020, was an emergency measure at the time when people were struggling to find jobs or had to remain home due to the pandemic. Wow. Is it just me, or the fact that they even mentioned Donald Trump on something like that, like making sense. They're saying that Donald Trump's was an emergency measure that made sense at the time. Wow. Who are these people? Thankfully, the situation is very different today. Oh, they recognize that Biden's booming economy. The unemployment rate for people with bachelor's degrees and higher is just 2%. It's hard to make the case that college graduates are still facing an unprecedented crisis. Oh my gosh. Who are these people? The loan forgiveness decision is even worse. Widely canceling student loan debt is regressive. It takes money from the broader tax base, mostly made up of workers who do not go to college or did not go to college, to subsidize the education debt of people with valuable degrees. Though Mr. Biden's plan includes an income cap, the threshold does not reflect need or earnings potential, meaning white-collar professionals with high future salaries stand to benefit. Student loans, moreover, are a poor proxy for household income. An analysis by policy researcher Jason DeLeese found that in 2016, students from high-income and low-income families were just as likely to take on debt for their first year in an undergraduate program. See, they were saying that, because all these people are saying, it's just the low-income people who take out loans for college. Bullshit. We took out loans for both of our kids. Well, we took out loans for the room and board because my son got a full tuition scholarship. Okay, never mind. Next to that, we took out loans for my wife's going back to school, though. That was, and we don't necessarily qualify as low income. Students from high-income and low-income families were just as likely to take out debt in their first year in an undergraduate program, and students from high-income families borrowed the largest amounts. Oh, now that's a whole nother. Chad, what's up? Chad Marcus wrote a great article on Men of Order on this topic yesterday. I'll have to check that out. Good morning, Chad. How you doing, my brother? Okay, so Mr. Biden's plan is also expensive and likely inflationary. Oh, gee, nobody ever thought of that. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimates extending the loan pause to the end of the year would cost $20 billion with a B dollars, while forgiving $10,000 for household making less than $300,000 costs $230 billion with a B. Together, these policies would nullify nearly a decade's worth of deficit reduction from the Inflation Reduction Act. They're still going to lie about the Inflation Reduction Act. Remember, when they say that it's going to save, reduce the deficit by $300,000, they're basing it on 2020 when we did a lot of extra deficit spending for the stupid 19 pause. That's funny. They keep using that number as if they're actually reducing inflation. How about you compare it to 2019 or 2018? And are you reducing the deficit? No, you're not, you lying pieces of garbage. Anyway, where's it? Now I lost my spot. There we go. Moreover, it's unclear that the 1965 Higher Education Act even grants the president the legal authority to take such a sweeping step, given that it was historically understood to permit only more targeted relief. True, Mr. Biden did not go as far as many on the left wanted. Democratic lawmakers and activists had urged the White House to cancel up to $50,000 in student loan debt. So that would have been $1.1 trillion. I'm just taking that first figure times 5. With no income limits. Oh, so all your lawyers and CEOs who still have student debt would have had all their $50,000 of their student loans taken out. Great. Mr. Biden was right to rule that out earlier this year and would have been wise to focus on reforms that help the neediest. His proposal to make the income-driven repayment program more generous at least targets a program that scales the help people get with their incomes. But a better approach would focus on expanding Pell Grants and other college finance programs pinpointed to the truly needy. No, you know what the best idea would be? Get the federal government out of the college funding business. Stop guaranteeing these schools their money. Stop, how about, here's a better idea. There are universities. Let's just take Harvard University, for example. The $50 million school. $50 million. Has a $50 billion God, what am I saying? 50 and God damn it, I can't talk. Endowment. How about some of these schools with these huge endowments? How about making your student loan program? How about make them make their own student loans? Okay, we're gonna have a loan program within Harvard where we're gonna take the risk on your degree and you paying back the loan, and we're gonna be the ones in charge of collecting it. Since you have so much extra money on your hand, right? I know it's endowment. My brain ain't working. How about the universities themselves? If you want to forgive loans, how about having the universities pay them out of the money you're giving them? Because all you're doing is making it easier for them to charge more and more and more. Oh, we'll just keep guaranteeing these loans. And you know what? People can't not pay them back unless, of course, Joe Biden waves a pen and says, oh, you don't have to pay for this anymore. How about the reason the price of tuition has gone up so much is because they're guaranteed the money so they can do whatever they want. And because they're supposedly nonprofits, a lot of them, they have to spend the money, but they keep bringing in more. So that's why you have like Taj Mahal student centers and water parks being built at universities. Really? And now we're saying, oh, well, college tuition should be free. Oh, yeah, I should send my kid to a school, a couple states away that has a water park because, we just extend their adolescence out till they're 22. For what? College degrees that are worthless? College degrees for a lot of things that you don't even really, even though they say, oh, you have to have a college degree for this job. My son made this comment. My son's a software engineer, right? And he went to school. And look, for my son, he had a full tuition scholarship at the school he went and studied computer engineering, got out of school, got a job. He's doing very well. He's been promoted 3 times in 3 years. But one thing he said to me when he started working in his job, he said, Dad, I'm not even really sure why I went to school. I knew a lot of this stuff before I went to school. I learned a lot of it when I was taking the classes in high school. And I'm glad I learned more. But there are guys here who didn't even go to college. They just went and learned how to code out of coding books. And they're doing the same job. And then some of them are great at their job. And it's kind of wild. And it's funny, my daughter also made that point to me when she got out of school. Now my daughter was a little different because she went to school and she majored in theater. And, we were like, okay, we're supportive. She had most of her school paid for too. But she was majoring in theater. And she worked in theater. That was her career for her first year or so out of school. But she was like, I have no idea why I went to college. I'm like, okay. Because you don't need, if you're talented, you don't have to have a theater degree to work in theater. You don't have to necessarily have a degree in computer engineering to work in coding. There are brilliant coders who never went to college. Gee, who are those guys that, what's that guy's name? He's that data-looking motherfucker from the big blue F thing. Oh, Zuckerberg. He didn't finish school, did he? Did Bill Gates finish school? I don't think he did he? Did Bill Gates finish school? Not before he started Microsoft, right? There's so many degrees that aren't needed. There are places where you can't get a job in the secretarial pool without a college degree. Why? what do you learn? What do you learn in college that you can't learn on the jobs? And there's so many trades and so many other things. People that teach to do things with their hands that are going to be needed because nobody does that shit anymore. Those people are making bank now. So anyway, let me finish this stupid editorial. Biden's latest. Okay, here it is. So, it would have been wise to focus on reforms that help the neediest. His proposal to make the income-driven prepayment program more generous at least targets a program that scales the help to people get with their incomes. But better approach would be focus on expanding Pell Grants and other college finance programs pinpointed to the truly needy. Mr. Biden's latest budget proposal calls for doubling the maximum awards for Pell Grants by 2029, a measure that would make college more affordable for low-income families for years to come. And, as with other worthy programs, Congress and the Biden administration should find a credible way to pay for such an expansion rather than just adding more to the national tab. No, I disagree there too. I don't think expanding Pell Grants, again, you're giving free money. How about tying some government loans or some government assistance to the universities who are accepting government grants and loans, and saying to these universities, look, here's what you need to do. You need to find a way we will match a grant that you give to the student, or we will match the loan that you give the students. So you're on the hook for some of this, and you need to figure out how to manage your costs in case your students do not graduate or default. Put the burden on the universities, not on the government, and certainly not the taxpayers. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Rod Line, for sponsoring the show. Says business needs to stop. Business? I'm sorry. I just realized there's no music going on. You can't do the show and do super chats without music. Hang on, listen to this. Here we go. Thank you, Rod Line, for sponsoring the show. $4.99 through YouTube super chat. Says business needs to stop requiring a degree or just train people themselves. Well, you know what? That's my point, Rod. And thank you for sponsoring the show. Well, that's just it. Most businesses do train people themselves, because guess what? Most businesses, even if they require a college degree, what's the first thing you do when you go to start work for a business when you get out of college? What's the first thing a business does if you change from one industry to another? What do they have to do for you to work there? They have to train you. They have to train you how their business works. It's not like you come out of college with a degree in, sociology, and you go work at, the offices at Barnes and Noble, and then the people at Barnes and the sociology department at XYU University taught you how to work in the whatever department in Barnes and Noble. I don't know why I used Barnes and Noble. That's a dead business. Anyway, you get my point? There's so many jobs that require degrees that really don't require degrees. That's the problem. We've brainwashed everyone into thinking a college degree is the be-all, end-all. Anyway, I'm just amazed. The end of this editorial says, Mr. Biden's student loan decision will not do enough to help the most vulnerable Americans. It will, however, provide a windfall for those who don't need it, with American taxpayers footing the bill. Exactly. We're American taxpayers are footing the bill for people who are the best off right now. They're 2% unemployment and people who have college degrees. So anyway, I'm shocked though that the New York Times, or excuse me, the Washington Post has that editorial. That editorial, if you want to find it, it'll be in the link in the description down below. I will update that at the end of the show during the outro. Now, a more likely detractor from Joseph Rahim Biden is of course Fox News, who also has an editorial out. Let me show you that. Because this is the one that get into the word unconstitutional again. Biden's $300 billion student loan handout exposes a chilling disregard for the law. Constitutional experts say, legal experts say Biden is stretching laws to the breaking point in the student loan handout. Now, they try to justify it. We talked about that yesterday. Maybe it'll be in this editorial. Legal experts say President Biden has a chilling disregard for his constitutional limitations as president, with his decision to wipe out student loan debt at an estimated cost to the taxpayers of $300 billion with a B dollars. On Wednesday, Biden announced he would take executive action to cancel student loan debt of up to $20,000 per borrower, making less than $125 or $125,000 annually. However, legal scholars are throwing a flag on the play by the White House, telling Fox News Digital that Biden is stretching laws to the breaking point in order to assume a power expressly given to Congress, and that the legal basis for the president's student loan handout maneuver is thin. Quote, President Biden is something of a constitutional recidivist when it comes to executive overreach, Jonathan Turley, law professor at George Washington University and practicing criminal defense attorney, told Fox Digital in the interview. He has been repeatedly found to have violated the Constitution in his unilateral use of executive powers. Yes. Let me just stop there. Because Biden seems to think, well, and it kind of, I'll give this on Trump and especially Obama. George Bush, I don't know how bad he was, but this whole executive order thing has gotten really out of hand. People are always talking about, oh, you're a threat to democracy. Have you seen anything more dictatorish than this student loan forgiveness thing? Anyway, the president's justification for his sweeping executive order comes from the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel, a division of the agency routinely consulted on the legality of presidential actions. On August 23rd, the OLC published a memo finding that the Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students Act of 2003, also known as the HEROES Act, grants authority to the Secretary of Education to address the financial hardship arising out of the COVID-19 pandemic by reducing or canceling the principal balances of student loans or for a broad class of borrowers. Now again, the HEROES Act is supposed to be based on a national emergency. What's the national emergency right now? Because you already extended, you postponed loan payments for 2 years now. Okay, now that everyone has jobs again, don't we have the lowest unemployment rate ever in the history of the world, according to the Biden administration? What's the emergency? That people can't pay back their loans now? What's the emergency? Anyway, Biden also rescinded a Trump-era memo that concluded the opposite, that the executive branch has no authority for mass cancellation of student debt. The HEROES Act of 2003 was adopted in response to the national emergency declaration by President George W. Bush in the wake of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, with the intent to ensure military members fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan would not be penalized in repaying their federal student aid loans. What was that? Ensure military members fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan would not be penalized in repaying their federal student aid loans. Turley calls the use of the HEROES Act for Biden's student loan handout transparently opportunistic and unlikely to pass muster by the Supreme Court. Let's hope so. Well, who's going to challenge? This is a problem. When they go to, it really is important for who challenges this executive order, because it can't just be a general taxpayer, even though the general taxpayer is the ones who are taking it in the hoo-ha. Because they never say, oh, well, you don't have standing because you're just a general taxpayer. Somebody has to take this to court. Who's going to do it? Is it going to be Congress, who's supposed to be the ones who are able to, make laws and change laws? Because this is clearly part of a law, right? Anyway, it was not long ago the administration was telling courts that the pandemic was effectively over in order to stop the use of Title 42 at the border. Oh, remember that? That's right. So the Title 42 provisions where they were forcing people who were seeking asylum to stay on a certain side of the southern border for a while before they got their papers processed. And that was because of an emergency order, right? Because of the pandemic, right? And then the Biden administration said, well, that emergency is over, so we don't need to follow this Title 42. Oh, but now you have an emergency, but it's not a big enough emergency for Title 42, but it is a big enough emergency to try to invoke the HEROES Act for what? Military members fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan? That's what the HEROES Act was written for. Anyway, kind of silly to me. Mike Davis, former chief counsel for nominations to the Senate Judiciary Committee and president of the Article 3 Project, told Fox Digital he also has legal concerns about Biden's use of emergency powers. In order to pass constitutional muster, Congress's delegation of emergency powers to any president must be carefully defined, Davis says. They can't have an open-ended national emergency. Reed Rubenstein, former acting general counsel of the Department of Education and principal author of the Trump-era memo, says the Biden administration has left out a major factor in its illegal analysis, West Virginia versus EPA. The recent Supreme Court case found that Congress needs to provide clear authorization for unusual executive branch action. The Supreme Court precedent is very clear on the question of whether Biden's student loan giveaway needed clear and unmistakable permission from Congress, Rubenstein said, and the answer is it most assuredly did not. Harvard Law professor Lawrence Tribe defended the president's position in a tweet, of course, because anything the president says, Lawrence Tribe's going to find a reason legally that it's okay. Sorry, I'm a little coffee today. And I don't mean this coffee, but hang on. Lawrence Tribe saying the HEROES Act gives expansive authority to alleviate the hardship federal student loan recipients may suffer as a result of national emergencies. Here, the 2020 advent of COVID-19. But see, they already did do something to alleviate the hardship that federal loan recipients may suffer by deferring their payments and restarting them. They're not restarting payments till December 2022. They've already done that. So why is there an emergency now? Because Democrats need midterm votes. That's why. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, in a press briefing Thursday, said the administration used HEROES because there's going to be some people when we lift the pause on student loan payment that are going to suffer. How? How? If the economy's rip-roaring, hunky-dory, super fan-fucking-tastic like you've been saying it has been for the last 6 months, how? They're just resuming payments that were paused for 2.5 years. How? Some are still going to suffer. Oh no! Oh no! She said while some who have been able to save money due to the moratorium on student loan payments, others are going to have a hard time. Oh, they're just in a different bracket. It's awful. And it's funny because the cap is in an income of $125,000. Really? I don't make $125,000. I would have if I had loans. I'd be we're going to be paying ours. Just because that's what it is. I don't know. There are a number of constitutional challenges that could be brought, says Turley. The administration could conceivably have success with some lower court judges, but I suspect they will get a rather chilly reception from the Supreme Court. Well, not 3 judges. I'm pretty sure 3 of the judges on the Supreme Court are probably just going to be like, oh, well, we'll find a way to make this as is. We'll find a way. But I'm sorry. All this executive power, to me, is complete and utter bullshit. You know what I want to do? I'm gonna veer off on what I was gonna do because I want to see. Let's see. Let's go to Men of Order. I want to check out this article on Men of Order. Our friend Marcus over at Men of Order, kind of an offshoot of Hotep Nation, Marcus Poulos has written an article on this site, and I highly recommend this site. There's a lot of good stuff on here. Student loans and how you are getting Biden reelected. Let's check this out. I worked in the student loan industry. The first thing they told us in training was, do not allow your children to receive student loans. First off, I have an awful secret. This is Marcus writing. Marcus is check out Marcus's oh shoot, I can't. It's Chad, are you still here? If you give me a link to Marcus's YouTube too, if you're still here. Anyway, he starts this way. First, I have an awful secret. I worked for a student loan company. That's right. I was employed for a while by one of the big government-controlled fascist multinational corporations who peddle financial poison to masses of innocent but ignorant 18-year-old children. I like where this is going already. As an anarchist, now Mark, when he says anarchist, let me clear something up for you. Anarchist doesn't mean chaos. Okay, anarchist is it's an extreme libertarian position, but let's not get caught up on the word anarchist. And if you watch a few of Marcus's videos and live streams, you'll understand why I say that. Okay, but anyway, as an anarchist, it chills me to the bone, but it does give me some insight that others may not possess. I know how huge the student loan scam is. The Biden administration has pulled off a masterful propaganda move that is enlisting conservatives and libertarians to get Biden reelected. My experience began on a Monday morning in a training room full of new employees who had just been required to apply for a government probe into their entire life. Believe it or not, they gave me government clearance. The first words out of my trainer's mouth at this company, whose name you will never see in this writing, were, do not allow your children to receive student loans. They continue with, do everything in your power to pay yours off as quickly as you can, because if you don't, you will likely be paying them for decades and not make a dent in the balance. That's because they don't make you pay principal. They make, well, you have to have a concentrated effort to pay off your student loans. You have to pay double, to triple, whatever you have to do to pay them off as fast as you can, pay them off. You have to eat less and pay off your loans, and then you can eat more later. When you get old, it's okay to be fat again. Anyway, they continue to do everything to pay off yours as quickly as you can, because if you don't, you'll be likely paying them for decades and not make a dent in the balance. And now a brief history of the theft. The reason student loan debt is such an albatross for so many is that student loans are a government scam. Many say, but my student loans are not owned by the government. They are owned by one of the several private companies. This is the beginning of the scam. First off, if you got a loan before 2010, it is still possible that your loan is owned by one of those companies. But this is what I was talking about before. If you received your loan after July 1st, 2010, then your loan is owned by the federal government. That is when Congress and President Obama made it illegal to issue government-backed loans by private institutions. The government is incapable of actually administering the student loan programs, so they hired the evil companies that the bill was designed to protect the public from to manage the loans. It is eerily similar to what they did when they started the Fed in 1913, but that is for another time. When this did in reality, or what this did in reality, is shelter the responsibility and shield these companies against litigation. As usual, the government was used to protect irresponsible practices by large corporations, and this was just the beginning. This is nothing new. The government loves to steal in any form it can. It was a huge boon for the government. They now fully controlled education because they controlled the money behind education. They would use its power immediately and encourage millions more people to get student loans and make it even more expensive by the day. Add that to the massive interest, which is often compound interest. The third quote from my trainer applies here. Never forget that interest is accrued on all loans daily. That's right. They make money on your loan every day. At any point, you can get what is called a forbearance, which allows you not to pay for a month or more. But if at any point you do this, all of your unpaid interest from the beginning of loan is capitalized or added to the principal of the loan, and now you pay interest on the interest. This is a sinister form of compound interest. Here's a good place to drop my source. Here's a source here. I'll even put a link to the source here. That is the website for the government programs as it stands. Every bit of the information I'm sharing can be found there. I do not want to bog down this with any more history. If you have any further questions, look it up. But Biden is forgiving loans. No, he's not. This is one of the most infuriating parts of talking with people about their student loans. They assume their loans were all paid for every time the news reported it was coming up. Up until now, it largely did not come at all. So what is happening now? According to This is CNN, individual borrowers who make less than $125,000 yearly and married couples or heads of households who make less than $250,000 yearly will have up to $10,000 of their federal loan debt forgiven if they did not receive a Pell Grant as an undergraduate student. The most important part is the last few words. When I received my student loans, I received a Pell Grant, as do a majority of low-income borrowers. Again, the majority of people will not get this forgiveness. Some will. Notice words low income above. That's right. Most of the people who will receive the forgiveness had parents that were not low income. It gets worse. Add to the above facts the program already offered. Most low-income families are currently on an income-driven repayment plan, or IDR. This is a set of plans that are designed to take into consideration the fact that many people who have a student loan just simply cannot afford to pay them. These low-income programs often allow borrowers to pay $0 per month. They just have to reapply every year. Low-income people are already not paying these loans. In addition to this, most of the IDR plans come with full loan forgiveness after 20 to 25 years. So how it currently works for those who, after attending school, still are low income, is they pay $0 per month for 20 years and the loan is forgiven completely. That's right. Completely. So let's recap. Biden is promising a $10,000 forgiveness when in 2017 the average student loan debt was over $37,000, but can get into hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. If parents were low income, you do not qualify, and if you do qualify, you already may be paying $0 a month. Or if you do pay but do not pay it off within 20 years, the balance, regardless of the amount, it is fully forgiven. All of this information, again, is publicly available on the government student loan website. So why do this? Why is Biden doing this? The simple answer to why the Biden administration and his lapdog media are saying this is the savior to millions of former students is votes. The same reason that several months ago they made abortion illegal, which is also false and expertly covered by Hotep Jesus. That's another article if you want to check that out. I'll link up all of these. The Biden administration is doing two things with this forgiveness. He can say that he fulfilled a campaign promise and employ conservatives to drive up voting for Democrats. Just like with the abortion line, Biden can essentially do nothing and get his base riled up. They have forgotten that the original promise was for $50,000 and might have helped people. It would have paid off my loans. But even if the liberal voter did remember the $50,000 promise, they will be saying, at least he gave us $10,000. Now, he goes on, conservatives are helping Biden. The more important thing this does is make conservatives and libertarians mad. I've seen arguments of all kinds from these duped fools. Quote, this is making me pay for someone else's loan. Quote, this is going to destroy the economy. Even with all the above facts I presented, it is a fact that this will not help or hurt the economy. That is not the point. I call your attention to the IDR again. You were already paying for these loans. Add the fact that for years now the government put a hold on paying student loans. Any economic repercussions have already happened. Now, every time a Democrat is on stage, they will be telling people not only that the evil GOP wants their money, they will say, we care about you. Ask yourself if facts win elections or if Santa Claus trumps your facts. Rush Limbaugh several years ago made the connection on his radio show, yet still conservatives fall for this obvious ploy. It doesn't matter who shows up at the ballot box. They have already chosen their next face to push the communist agenda. We do not know which color the communists will be, red or blue. If they choose blue, they will need to sell Y. They will say that conservatives thought they had it in the bag and stayed home, and the liberals were fired up by abortion and student loan forgiveness. So what do? Student loans are a scam to begin with. We need to call for the government to get their thieving hands out of the pockets for kids. To quote my trainer again, do not allow your children to receive student loans. I want the entire federal government abolished, but the Department of Education is a really good place to start. This contract for student loans is made largely with 18-year-old children in an atmosphere designed to coerce them into signing away their future financial security. This program is designed to stop middle-class people from upward financial mobility by burdening them with this enormous debt. Now, this is, he says, I'm an anarchist. I see government for the criminals they are. I do not argue that the $10K is coming out of my pocket and the daily theft of taxes. If the government wants to give you the money, take it. It is the state stealing money I have a problem with. Stop falling for the lies and propaganda. Stop being led into fighting the government plans. You are free the moment you are born. Start acting like it. End the student loan program entirely and forgive every penny. That's how the GOP could get an anarchist like me to vote for them. So that's Marcus. Check out Men of Order too. He writes a lot of articles here. Plus, there's all kinds of stuff. In fact, here's a taste of what's at Men of Order. Andrew Tate, Alex Jones, and the Age of Censorship by Andy Eversole. Top 3 Reasons Why People Get Hacked by Kamar Daniel. Make an Extra $5,000 This Year by Anthony Bailey. 3 Gems Kobe Bryant Left for You by Brian Sharp, a.k.a. Hotep Jesus. And There's No Such Thing as Competition by Brian Sharp, a.k.a. Hotep Jesus. So it's a great site. Check it out. All right, let's move. Let's keep going here. Other things that were in the news. How much time do I got? I'm running out of time already. I just got caught up in that.
We live.
Oh shoot!
We live. What's up, people?
I do have links to that. Links to applying for public service loan forgiveness. Oh, good Lord. Zuckerberg was trending earlier today too because a couple things. But I want to. This is interesting because the way that Twitter presents things, and like for example, they use the Independent a lot for some of their stories. The fact that Mark Zuckerberg was on Joe Rogan's show was being hyped in Twitter, right? In the what's happening in the trending area, right? So they put this little header on here and did their little explainer here. Mark Zuckerberg on the Joe Rogan Experience. And this is all from the Independent. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who oversees Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and the metaverse, is making a surprise appearance as a guest on controversial podcast host Joe Rogan's latest show. Okay, so this is the Independent highlighting the highlighting Mark Zuckerberg's appearance on Joe Rogan. So here's here's their thread on this. And I want to ask you, of the things you heard about yesterday, what is missing from this thread by The Independent? Because there's a major story that came out of it. And let's see if The Independent mentions it. So here's their thread. Mark Zuckerberg, in a surprise 3-hour interview on controversial show, Joe Rogan 3-hour interview. Rogan has been a lot. Now, this is, again, The Independent is, I don't know why they feel the need to describe who Joe Rogan is, but here's their description. Rogan has been a lightning rod since his Joe Rogan Experience, the world's most popular podcast, was bought by Spotify in a $100 million deal. Really? Is that what? I don't understand the purpose of that sentence. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who oversees Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and the metaverse, is making a surprise appearance as a guest on the controversial podcast host Joe Rogan's latest show. The tech entrepreneur told Rogan that new equipment for Meta was being released in October. Oh, joy! Virtual reality really convinces your brain you are there. You have to convince your brain that this isn't real and that you are not actually there, Zuckerberg said. Oh my goodness. I thank you, Captain Obvious. You want them to be a normal looking pair of glasses, he added, saying they were working on waveguide technology that could be made out of plastic or glass. Oh, joy! Still talking about VR, Zuckerberg said, you will never be able to do all the things you can do in a person, but you'll be able to work remotely, live wherever you want. Rogan said no one would ever want to be in an office again if that was the case. Being present with people and feeling a sense of presence is pretty important, added Zuckerberg about having staff in an office. Zuckerberg says Meta is spending $10 billion on research this year. Oh, more. Okay, that's it. That's the thread. Now, who can tell me what's missing? I'm sure you've heard about it. Hello, infamous one. I'm sure you heard about it. What's missing from that? Oh, maybe the fact that, wait a minute, where is it? Oh no, did I, is this it? Where is it? Oh, maybe the fact that Zuckerberg told Rogan that Facebook algorithmically censored the Hunter Biden laptop story for 7 days based on a general request from the FBI to restrict election misinformation. Do you think that might have been important? Because Rogan was asking questions here. Here's the clip.
How do you guys handle things when they're a big news item that's controversial? Like there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Yeah, we had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. I mean, basically the background here.
Okay, wait. Listen to this carefully. Listen to him talk in a circle here, pretending they didn't. I mean, he's going to make it like, well, we didn't suppress it that much.
Is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey.
Oh, really? The FBI came to Facebook and said,
just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
Wait a minute. So this is in regards to, this is about the Hunter Biden laptop thing, right? And that's because that's specifically what Joe asked about. And so he says, well, the FBI came to us and said we should be on high alert for, possible misinformation, possible Russian misinformation. But wait a minute. Isn't this the laptop from Hunter Biden, that the FBI already had all the information from. And they already knew that the story was not disinformation, but they went to Facebook, and I'm sure they went to Twitter, and I'm sure they went to, Reddit, and I'm sure they went to all these companies, right? They were going around telling, well, no, you need to be careful. This might be misinformation. This is kind of some type of dump from information from something that may be Russian disinformation. And if we say it's Russian disinformation, we could be sounding really scary because it's Russian, and the Russians, and the Russians and Trump Russians, right? So what did Facebook do?
So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also do this third-party fact-checking program.
Oh, so we allow misinformation, but we also have third-party fact checkers. Oh, yes, those third-party fact checkers are usually FBI agents. But I'm not saying that it was the FBI.
We don't want to be deciding what's true and false.
Oh,
and
but you did.
For I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false. The distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could.
Okay, listen to that again. The distribution on Facebook was decreased. Wait, what? What? What do you mean it was decreased? But people are still allowed to share it, so you can still share. He says this. So it was shadow.
Still share it.
So in other words,
you
it
could
was
still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
It got shared.
It got shadow
basically,
banned.
the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less.
It got shadow banned.
Fewer people
ranking
saw
in
it
newsfeed
than would have
less.
otherwise.
You lying piece of shit. It was shadow banned. You shadow banned the information that the FBI told you to shadow ban.
It's meaningful, but basically.
Wait, what was that question again? What did he ask? Hang on a second. Here, let me go back.
Fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. But basically.
I love that. That's just a simple question Joe asked. That's a great question. Oh, by what percentage? By what percentage did you decrease its ability to view and share with people in your circles? By what percentage? It was significant, but it was meaningful. It's meaningful. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. So in other words, you suppressed people's ability to communicate with each other because the FBI fucking told you so. You piece of shit.
A lot of people are still able to share it.
Oh, a lot of people. Okay, hold up. Define a lot. What is a lot, Mark? What is a lot? And if perchance you suppressed it so that it could not be shared as much, by what percentage you don't seem to want to tell because, just saying. Does the FBI as a government agency, do you just do whatever they tell you? They do what they told you. They do what they told you. They do what they told you. You do what they told you. Whatever happened to fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Which is funny because I that's a little Rage Against the Machine reference. Funny little thing that during the pandemic, and there was one of the guys in Rage Machine was telling that, oh, you got to take the jab because they say this and that, and I said, oh, so it changed from fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, to fuck you, I'll do whatever they tell me. It's whatever.
We got a lot of complaints that was the case. Obviously this is a hyper-political issue, so depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much, but we weren't sort of as black and white about it as Twitter. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country,
well, there's your problem
very
right there.
Law enforcement.
There's your
they
problem.
come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it basically fit the pattern.
Holy shit. Anyway, that's what the Independent left out of their little thread about Mr. Zuckerberg. All right, let's move on. I only got a couple more minutes. Other things, let's see. Oh, the other thing, judge ordered release of the affidavit in the Trump search. A federal judge ordered the release of the redacted version of the affidavit that enabled the FBI to obtain a search warrant for former President Donald Trump's Florida residence. U.S. Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhart set a deadline of noon Friday for the Justice Department to release the document to the public. The New York Times has reported. I'm assuming that's Eastern time, so if it hasn't been done already, it has to be done within the next half hour. Of course, George Conway was on some show talking about how the walls are closing in for Donald Trump. Let's see. John Harwood, who is Biden administration sycophant and most Trump-hating news reporter on the planet, says, Barr's justification, like so many others, no illusions, but I thought a Republican administration was important. I thought Trump was being unfairly treated. I felt I could help stabilize things, deal with Russiagate to get justice, and the FBI, of course. I got to look at that real quick. Thank you, Chad, for sponsoring the show through YouTube Super Chat. And oh, wait, that clown was for Rage Against the Machine, not you. Chad says, Rage Against the Machine is greater than Ride the Machine Hard. Yes, it is, definitely. And Rage Against the Machine gets this clown horn. Anyway. Let's see. So, I don't know. I don't really have time to go through this. Anyway, just so you know. So, oh, wait a minute. While we wait for the DOJ to file a redacted Mar-a-Lago search warrant affidavit, some other Trump illegal action. As expected, he continues to kick up all the January 6th liability cases now that Judge Mehta has rebuffed his immunity defense, 3 police plaintiff cases today. I don't know what that is. I don't see anything. Let's see. Have they even... I'm going to refresh this and see if the affidavit's been released yet. Doesn't look like it. They only got 30 minutes, though. It's going to be out here soon. So that's going to be the big news today. Everyone will be talking about that. I'll just wait and see, since I don't have it in front of me and I don't have time to actually go through it. What the hell is going on in my computer? The Justice Department is set to release a partly redacted version of the affidavit used in the search warrant for Donald Trump's Florida residence, a disclosure that could have significant legal, political, and historical implications, so follow for updates. We'll see what happens with that. I'm out of time, so let me just go through a couple of these tweets, and then I'm going to get out of here. Harmeet K. Dillon, again, is kind of thinking of unconstitutional shit. The FBI has time and again shown itself to be a secret police, political henchmen for their favorite leaders, and willing to threaten journalists, lie to courts, leak, execute unconstitutional search warrants, and trap citizens, even lie to private companies to suppress citizen speech. In 2021, we at Liberty Center sued Twitter after we saw documentary proof that California's Secretary of State then, Alex Padilla, used taxpayer dollars to make enemies lists of 2020 election critics, resulting in our client, lawyer Rogan O'Hanley, a.k.a. DC Drano, being deplatformed from Twitter. Despite overwhelming evidence, federal district court said there was no case against either Twitter, the government, or the crony consulting firms that carry the corrupt and First Amendment violating orders. And we now learn that about Facebook and the FBI. I hardly recognize this country. Back in 2001, as my Sikh brothers and sisters and South Asians and Muslims were harassed by the FBI using 9/11 as a pretext, I spoke up against the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act's bullshit, needs to be repealed. Conservatives condemned me. Liberals went along with the surveillance state. How do you like your FBI now? You feel safe? And then she talks about founding Liberty Center. Let's see. What was the other ones I had out here? Oh, the Keffels Kiwi Farms things. I don't have time to get into it, but just to update you on some internet drama, Keffels is now going after Mr. Medicare. So he's been following this, and basically, like many of us feels that these are two entities that both suck ass, but if they want to be on the internet, let them be. But so she said, she put out this thing, I don't know what Keffels is, so put out a tweet. The lesson I learned is the only way to earn their respect is through fear. Keep up the pressure and they will start marching with us in pride parades. Yeah. And then she's hashtag drop Kiwi Farms, which if you didn't know, Medicare's very shadowy name on Twitter is Quarantine Quoof, saying they are starting to say the quiet part out loud. Now, Keffels is taking offense to Medicare even having an opinion on this particular this matter. And so here's what Keffels puts out. Unsure why people are so shocked I would try to intimidate people who harass trans people into suicide. Now, that is bullshit. Nobody's harassing trans people to suicide, okay? The ideation of suicide in trans people, whether or not they've actually gone through a transformation process, is no lower or higher before, during, after any procedures or based on societal issues. As the more research comes out, they learn that it probably has things to do with like depression and other factors that causes these things. But it happens to be a higher ideation in trans people, whether they transition or not. But she continues. It continues. He continues. They continue, however you'd like to say it. I don't know who Mr. Medicare is, but this is his ban evasion account. Most of his posts seems to be commenting on Kiwi Farms related drama. Now, she is very upset with Kiwi Farms. She continues. It's really funny how restrained he is by having to act normal. His replies are filled with Kiwi fucks, misgendering, and dead-naming me, but he cannot do that or else his ban invasion account will go the way that We Was Medicare did. It's very interesting that she is picking a fight with Medicare. Because whether or not you understand, if she doesn't know who Medicare is, that's fine. But it's not Medicare that's the problem. Whether Medicare's on Twitter or not, it's Medicare's fans who would be the problem for her. Is Jim's cancer getting better or worse? Does anyone know? I'm not sure. But now whoever, what is this? Anyway. And plus, now, by the way, and on that note, Marjorie Taylor Greene got swatted again for a second time. She's not happy. She's not happy about that. So anyway, all right, I got to call it a day, guys, because the time's up. I may or may not throw a stream together this weekend. Nothing scheduled, but I am back to my normal Monday through Friday schedule around 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. I hope to continue that schedule, but we'll work on it. It's getting tough for whatever. I don't know why we keep getting done later and later in the day, so I can't get here on my normal time. But generally, if you come around 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, I'll be here doing my show Monday through Friday. And again, also check out Men of Order. It's a pretty great site. There's some good stuff on there. And thank you for y'all for being here. I gotta go. As you know, by the way, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button before you go. Share the stream before, during, after the show. If you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section. And you can sponsor the show at pdognight.live. That is the the Streamlabs link. Or if you prefer, if you don't mind giving Susan 30%, YouTube Super Chats, Venmo, Cash App, all those things are in the description down below. If you'd like to sponsor the show, tip jar is a very nice thing. Thank you to our sponsors today, Tyler Alexander, Maddie, Rod Line, and Chad LeBoyne, my brother from Hotep Nation. We had a great time out there. I'm going to do that recap. I'll probably do a video on the recap over the week, or on do a video recap of Hotep Nation weekend. And a lot of people are asking me, what is Hotep? So maybe along with that recap, I'll explain what Hotep is. And I'm aligned myself with Hoteps. I was always Hotep adjacent at one point, but I've decided, after going to Hotep weekend, I'm definitely Hotep. So I'll explain it sometime soon. All right, guys, I got to go. Y'all have a wonderful weekend if I don't stream before Monday. And that's it for today. Got to go. My name's Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thanks for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.